When our kids were young, they used to complain like crazy about all the pretty little villages we used to take them to, both in the UK and in Europe. But I guess if you love pretty little villages, then you love pretty little villages. Hello and welcome to my channel, and welcome to Devon in the southwest of England. I hope you're well wherever you are. Today I thought I'd take you out for a little stroll around a gorgeous little village called Sheldon, which is on the River Tean. And I thought I would talk to you a little bit about life's big transitions, transformation, change, new beginnings. Yeah, I think those words would probably summarise what I've been reflecting on over the last week and what I'd like to share with you now. First of all, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about 2024. And that was quite a unique year for me, very unusual. In fact, I'm trying to think whether there's ever been another year quite like it in my entire life. So maybe the year I left school had some similarities with it. The year I got married. The years when my children were born. All of these years that I've just mentioned marked a significant turning point in my life. 2024 though was quite unique in that it was something that I had planned and prepared for maybe 5 years in advance. And it wasn't in response to something else happening in my life, it was something that I orchestrated. So back in 2019, I think it was, I signed a contract that meant that I would finish work in 2024. And when I finally signed the contract, I was over the moon. I remember we were in Berlin at the time, and it was a moment of celebration, really, because we agreed on something that would give us some certainty for the years ahead, and importantly, that would allow us to begin a new chapter outside of Germany. And that was something we were both quite keen on doing. So it was a huge thing, but when October 2024 finally arrived, I couldn't believe it. It was a bit like that moment when you leave school and you walk out the school gates and you think, oh, what do I do now? So we moved to England and we're here now. We've been here for, I don't know, keep losing track, maybe 6 months. And what I've noticed is we both love it here. I'd say my wife is completely at home here. She is totally settled. She has a job here. She has the offer of a second job here. She does volunteering at a local centre. She does yoga and lots of keep fit classes. She has friends here. I'm really proud of her, and I'm amazed at how well she's adapted to life back here. And so I would say, in terms of how likely is it that we would want to stay in England after being here for a year, I would say from my wife's perspective, it's probably 100%. So that's great news. I like to see her looking so happy, and I can really see what she had been missing whilst she was in Germany, particularly for those last few years. In terms of myself, my story is a little bit more complicated. I am happy here. I have made an effort to get to know people, but I have had another battle over the last 6 months. So coinciding with me moving from Germany to England, I discovered I had cancer. And so the last 6 months has been about my battle with that. And about 2 weeks ago, I got some really good news. I mean, I should be celebrating. In fact, I did feel good to start with, because after my prostate was removed, they send the prostate away to a lab for testing. And they do another PSA blood test. And all the results indicated that the cancer has gone. I mean, they can never be absolutely sure, and they will continue to monitor it for the next 5 years. But honestly, it was the best news I could have hoped for. I wouldn't go as far as to say I am cured, although the one cancer nurse did say that to me, but it is, what's it called? It's called a radical prostatectomy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that now. Radical prostatectomy. That doesn't sound right, does it? Anyway, it has the word radical in, and it has the word radical in because they remove everything where the cancer could possibly be, or at least that's what they hope. And it worked. And so I am now free of cancer at the moment. I still have to live with the side effects of the operation, which is a little bit more complicated. But in general, it's extremely good news. And I am very, very grateful to all the people that helped me through that. Yet, I have been feeling a little down this last couple of weeks. And I reflected on why that might be. And I came to the conclusion it's because the new beginning that I was supposed to have had last October when I moved from Germany back to England actually starts now. This is the start of my new chapter. And now that all my NHS visits are over, I no longer need to go to the doctors and the hospitals and to wellbeing clinics. Now all of that is over, I'm not quite sure what to do with myself. And so I'll talk about some of those options that I've thought about, but I'm just going through a little bit of a period of uncertainty and maybe some confusion about what to do next. So I have a number of options that I consider whilst I'm at home and my wife is out at work. So today I was doing the ironing, pondering over these things. The first is that I carry on with this YouTube channel and I invest more time and effort into it and try and make it work. And that's quite appealing. I mean, I've certainly got a lot from this experience. I've learnt a lot. I've met some nice people via the internet, and I've enjoyed the experience of being creative and doing something that's totally different to what I used to do in the office. So yeah, it's possible. Then the other option is to finish off my book that I've talked about so much. Sorry I go on about that so much, but maybe it's time that I knuckle down and finished off that book, found myself an editor or a proofreader, made those last changes that I need to make and publish and promote the thing. So that would be, I think, quite a sizable project and might require me to reduce the amount of effort I put into YouTube, at least for a short while. Then the third option is to find a part-time job in the local area. And I have looked at part-time jobs. It's been a little bit difficult for me because of my health issues, but now I think I'm almost ready to step up to the mark and take on that challenge. However, most of the jobs are jobs where you need to be physically fit. A lot of them are connected with the tourist industry, things like working in bars and pubs and restaurants, and I don't know whether I'm maybe a bit too old for that. I'm not sure. So then there's another option that is also perhaps part-time but different, and that is earning a living online. So that could appeal to me. I could almost be like a digital nomad, making my living perhaps teaching English, although I think I might need to improve my English first, but maybe that could be something that I do, or doing some kind of online consultancy or coaching, or I'm sure there are some possibilities out there that would allow me to continue living in this area. The next option I see is actually going back to corporate life, so getting a job maybe as a project manager or as a program manager, but I think that would require me to work in one of the bigger cities like London or Birmingham, and really my preference is to stay down here in Devon. I've waited all my life, well, I wouldn't say waited, but I have dreamed my whole life of living somewhere like this, and I don't want to give up on that dream, 6 months after arriving here. Then the final option I've been considering is retirement. So I've worked for 40 odd years for this moment, and so why not just lean into it, find some hobbies, get out there and meet people, do some more volunteering, and stop worrying about trying to make money and trying to further my career. I mean, it's okay to step back and take it easy. So that's a possibility. But of course, I think I mentioned on the last video, we're not yet a homeowner, so I would like to try and earn some more money to help us to buy a house here in England. So at the moment, this is the least favourable option, I would say. But maybe it's something I can consider, and maybe I should work harder on finding some hobbies and some interests outside of the home. So yeah, we'll see. So these are the options that I've been considering. So one thing that's helped me during this period of transition in my life has been my faith. And as I've said on previous videos, I recently, or actually the beginning of the year, I started trying out the local Baptist church. And soon after starting there, I learned that they were running an Alpha course. So I've started attending that as well. And consequently, I feel part of that church now. They're such friendly people. They have so much energy, and there's so much vibrancy and warmth and openness. They soon learnt that I'm a vegan, and so they make vegan cakes for us to have, which I was quite touched by. And someone said to me recently at the church that I'm part of the family now, and that made me feel quite sentimental, quite emotional, because I've been searching for a place to call home for a long time now, and for several years I felt lost and all adrift, and there was nowhere that felt like home. And so to be told that, and to also feel it, meant an awful lot to me. But despite that, I still feel I need to work on my faith. To compare myself to a biblical character, I still feel I'm a bit of a doubting Thomas. I still have lots of doubts, and I don't read the Bible often enough, so I haven't made a big enough effort to really understand what the Bible is all about, and I don't pray consistently enough. And so I feel I'm not yet a good Christian, and that troubles me a little bit. But actually there are some similarities there with being an author, being a YouTuber, being a German. All of these things I have done. I've become all of these things to a certain extent, but somehow or other I've not quite took it through to the level that I want. I'm quite low on confidence in all of these areas really, and have a lot of doubts about myself. I sometimes feel disappointed in the book I wrote, even though I should be proud of it. I sometimes feel very disappointed in my YouTube channel and in my communication skills. And so perhaps it's hardly surprising that I also feel that I'm not a great Christian as well. So maybe this next chapter of my life, I really need to work on my self-confidence. But I'm not sure about that, because I think it's also quite good to be humble, isn't it? Because I think being humble means that you're not arrogant. It means that you don't believe you know everything. It means you're curious, and that you have a desire to learn and better yourself. And so maybe there is a healthy tension there actually, and maybe I actually feel good about my level of self-confidence. Maybe it's just right, and perhaps I can apply that to my faith. Maybe it's a good thing that I have these doubts, and maybe it's a good thing that I don't yet know all there is to know about Christianity. And perhaps that simply reflects that I'm on the beginning of a journey, and that journey has still a long way to go. And hopefully, because of the fact that I've taken the right actions in terms of my cancer, and maybe if I can, once I've got past this cold, if I can prioritise my health and get myself fit again, then maybe I'll have some years ahead in which I can strengthen my faith and become a better Christian and a better YouTuber and a better author and a better person in general. So maybe I should look at all of this in a much more positive light. And I think when I'm out here in the fresh air and amongst nature, I do feel that way. I think where I start to feel low and despondent is when I'm stuck at home on my own. And actually I just touched on something there, this thing about being alone. So perhaps this is the last point I'll reflect on. And that is, I've not been very good in my life at maintaining friendships and developing new friendships. I am a bit of an introvert, I am a little bit socially awkward, a little bit socially anxious, a little bit shy perhaps. And maybe a little bit lazy as well. You know, there is nothing, I enjoy nothing more than a quiet night in with my wife watching TV. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think there are times when it is very good for your mental health to have friendships in your life, to have good friends and to have people you can turn to when times get tough. And this last weekend we had some friends visit us from where we used to live in Buckinghamshire, and I had a wonderful weekend, I really did, and I felt so much better for the 2 or 3 days that followed. And I think that's maybe a reminder that as well as working on my physical and mental health and my faith and my activities such as YouTubing, I also need to give as much attention and effort into building and maintaining good friendships, because they are so important. Yeah, so that's it. I think those are my main reflections. I don't quite know where I'm going with all of this. I'll post some more videos and keep you up to date with how my thinking develops and whether or not I decide to go in a slightly different direction in life. But actually, talking to you now, I think maybe I have revealed some of the answers that I was looking for. And that is to not give up on some of these projects I've started, work on some of my friendships, strengthen my faith, work on my physical and mental health, and just try and enjoy life and not overthink it all. So yeah, so thanks for coaching me through this. It's been good. And now I'm going to go home and see my wife before she goes off to her dancing classes. And yeah, hope you're well wherever you are. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk again soon. Thanks then, bye.